Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Melfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And we've got two for you today. A programme I enjoy watching at 9 o'clock on Saturday mornings is The Saturday Show on Channel 5. With its two fabulous presenters, Gaby Roslin and Matt Allwright. They join us on the phone now. How are you doing?
I like being called fabulous.
I think you're more delicious, to be honest with you. Matt's more fabulous, really.
Oh, no. Delicious. I like being delicious, but I quite like being fabulous because I use it about everybody. And nobody's ever called me fabulous. So if Matt and I could be fabulous together, that's lovely.
You can't make up that chemistry, can you? What you've got on screen, it might work, it might not work. Were you nervous when you sat there the first time that you might just hate each other?
No, because I've adored Matt for years. We've actually known each other for years. When he came in and sat in, when Matt Barbette was there and he came and did a holiday relief, as it's called, at the end of it, I was so excited. And I just said, you are brilliant, you're wonderful. He's very naughty. And I like to work with a naughty presenter if you think back on some of the people I've worked with. So for me, I couldn't be happier. I really, really couldn't.
How difficult is it on an average day getting a word in sideways, Matt?
Well, listen, the thing is we're not paid per word, so it's fine. Actually, I can let Gaby just say everything. If we were paid per word, it would be a different matter. But they just give us the block of money, and literally, if I don't have to say anything...
Block?
There's no great loss.
Block?
They block. It's like a tiny...
Channel 5.
It's mostly
Block?
coppers. It's mostly coppers, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
There's a man after my own heart. Take the money and run. When you sit there and you've got people on who don't particularly want to talk and you've got 3 hours of airtime ahead of you, do you have a plan or do you just have to get through it and grit your teeth?
Everybody has something to say. I always say this to my husband, but, even if you go to a dinner party and you sit next to somebody and you think, oh, my God, I've been put next to the most boring person. No, you haven't, because everybody has a story. Everybody.
It's just finding that thing that makes them tick. And once you've got that, you can sort of burrow away into that and find out through that. Because people actually love talking about themselves. But they don't always like talking about the bits that you want to get to. Or you have to put it in the right order. So they love music. Let's talk about that first. And then you get round to the overwhelming things that they're going through in their lives that actually people are fascinated by as well. It's just finding your way in, I find.
It's rapport as well, isn't it? And whether they like you, the more they like you, the more they're going to tell you. And I guess that's another thing that you're both blessed with. When we look at your career, Gaby, obviously the place that most people love you from, certainly in my generation, was The Big Breakfast. Nobody's ever forgotten that. It's amazing when you have a hit that people remember.
It is. And it's very funny because every time anybody says, oh, do you mind if I mention it? I always say no. I mean, it was... Believe it or not, it was 24 years ago next week that it started, that Chris and I started it. But yeah, those 24 years have gone in. If I blink my eye and keep my eyes closed for just a second too long, I can see it all and I can smell it all and I can feel it all. So, it is 30 years next month I've been doing it. And I still remember my very first day at work. So, and I'm delighted and thrilled and touched that people still remember it. I really am. It's a it's a huge compliment to me and to Chris.
Well, it was an amazing show. I was staggered by the press that Chris Evans had this year over Top Gear. I've never seen such vitriol ever. And for a man that's got the most listened to radio show in the country, he really didn't deserve it, did he?
I adore Chris. I won't listen to any of that, so I don't need it.
Don't you think that's all just social media? I mean, it's amplifying voices of people that have bad things to say. Actually, if you took a poll of people, most people would say that the contribution Chris has made, and Gaby, and cheering people up in the mornings, it's like liquid sunshine. And that's the vast majority of people who actually don't bother to say that stuff because it kind of goes without saying. It's all those negative voices I find just get amplified way out of proportion.
Yeah, it's sad.
I complimented Chris on Top Gear on Twitter, and there was a lot of vitriol after I said the kids, and I loved it. People just not very happy with me saying that, and I just thought I'll just keep quiet. But of course I'm going to support him. But I mean, I've been very blessed. I've worked with him, I've worked with Terry Wogan, and now Matt Allwright. I couldn't wish for nicer, more generous people to work with. I really couldn't.
Are you two any good at baking? I'm not making any sort of accusations, aspersions, or...
I would never take... There we are. I will say it now because enough people have been asking me in the past 2 days. I will not be taking that role. Not that they've asked me, but I will not be taking that role.
Matt, are you any good?
That is the poison cupcake, that one.
Isn't it, John?
That one. I love making cakes. I made a cake for my daughter's birthday the other day. It turned out pretty well. but that's where you separate your personal life and your professional life. And
Excuse me, what do you mean you're good at baking? Can you make me a nice gluten-free cake and bring it in on Saturday?
Why would I make a gluten-free cake?
Because I'm allergic. You know that.
I'm off wheat and dairy at the moment as well. So
well, there we go. You can make a nice vegan gluten-free cake.
I didn't even know how to start with that. What do you put in instead? Like
you could do a nice polenta cake, lemon polenta cake.
Oh, polenta.
Yeah, nice polenta cake.
What is
polenta? It's corn.
Is it?
Oh, I've got so much to teach you, Matt.
I can have a crack, I suppose. Yeah.
What exactly would that taste like, eating a polenta cake? It doesn't sound that delicious.
No, lemon polenta cake, and you can do it with almonds as well.
Yeah.
You just cook it with the lemon in it, and it's very moist and delicious.
I've had a polenta lemon drizzle before, and it was very, very good.
Very good.
I'm just looking at what you've done in the past, Matt, and I think we got to know you most famously probably on the One Show, but I remember watching you all those years ago on Watchdog, which I thought was a defining moment for you, because I said to Eamon and Ruth yesterday, actually, to have a personality and be a journalist is quite rare. And that's really what you are, isn't it? You make what you do fun, whereas most just read it. That's why I think we're talking today and why you stuck out.
Do you know what? It's interesting. I have this sort of wrestle every time I make a new series of Rogue Traders, which we're doing again 1st of November. It's like people say, oh, you have to make it funny. It's like it's an absolutely essential part of telling the story, that you've got to demonstrate, A, that you're human, B, that not everything is serious. In fact, you've got to save your serious self for the really serious stuff, and the rest of you is just like everybody else, and you need to be entertained. Otherwise, no one's going to listen. The message doesn't get through, and you don't help anybody.
You're a brilliant journalist as well, and you have the luxury of being so good at your job that you can relax into it and have that enjoyment side. And I think you can only do that when you're really good at your job, like Matt is.
Were you two both surprised? I mean, I know you've come in more recently, you weren't there right from the beginning, but the Saturday show has become a hit really from nowhere because you're up against James Martin. Of course, he's gone now with Saturday Kitchen. That hasn't hurt, really, has it?
Well, do you know what? It's very funny. The first few months of doing the show, and people would stop me and ask about it and say, oh, we like this bit, we like this bit. And it's happening more and more. And it seems, everyone says, oh, it's been on for years. I mean, it's nearly a year it's been on. But it's just, do you know what? Most people say to me, because I started out on network television on Saturday mornings 27 years ago, and before that satellite, but most people say that it's the Saturday morning TV that they remember growing up with. So when I did Motormouth, the same people who were sort of early 20s like I was then, and people who are now grown up with kids of their own, I think they're the same people who are watching it. Yeah. So Saturday morning telly in the olden days used to be fun, have a laugh, edition. Obviously, it's not quite like Motormouth or SMTV Live or any of those, but it's for all the family. And I love the fact that my 9-year-old will sit and watch it, not just because I'm in it, because in the beginning she thought she wasn't that mad about it. Now she loves it. And they wanted to come and see the show last week, and it's lovely. And my dad, who's 82, watches it. My aunt and uncle, who are in their 70s.
I think it's got a bit of daftness about it. You know what I mean? It's not forced daftness. It's just that Gaby and I together, we can't be serious. We can't look at each other with a straight face, and that sort of daftness, I think is missing a bit. Or it's a bit manufactured in other places, and it sort of comes natural to be daft as brushes. So, I think people respond to that and they like it. That's the way it used to be.
And Gaby, of course, I have to talk to you about the governor who we lost this year. It must have been terrible for you to lose Terry. I mean, again, as much as you're identified with the Big Breakfast, those children in need jobs that we saw year in, year out became so synonymous with you and Terry. Does that ever become normal that on a Sunday morning you switch the radio on and he's not there?
I worked with Terry for 12 years, and we did the Terry and Gaby show together as well for a year. The day I was told, my boss from Radio London called me up and said, are you all right to do the show this afternoon? I didn't know what he meant because I hadn't heard the news, and I put the computer on and I saw everything, and I screamed, and David, my husband, ran downstairs and said, you're going to be all right this afternoon. And I can't say the exact words because it's too rude, but Terry would have said to me, it's only beeping radio, Gaby, it's not brain surgery, get on with it. And I could hear him saying that to me. So I did my radio show with a lot of tipping my hat to the master, and then I think that my saddest thing about it is that everybody seems to forget he's got a family. and everybody was talking about themselves and Terry, and that's why I only did the one show and one newspaper thing, because I just thought a lot of people were talking about it, and I just, remembering his wife and his kids and his grandchildren, and they're the ones that he's a big loss to all of us, and he was the cheekiest man I have ever worked with. If you think Matt's cheeky and you think Chris Evans, put the two of them together and then times it by 1,000, and you've got how naughty Terry was. Oh my word!
What a privilege for you to work with him. What a great thrill.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
The Saturday Show on Channel 5 returns this week and every week at 9 o'clock with Gaby Roslin and Matt Allwright. A great combination for a fun couple of hours on the TV with showbiz guests. Of course, there's the live cookery bit and you review the week too. I love it. I think it's a rare gem on the TV that's only going to grow and grow. Good luck with it. Gaby and Matt back Saturday at 9.
Thank you so much.
Alex, thank you.